Adeshagun Temitope is my name. On today's show, we will continue from where we stopped last week, talking about nutrition of nursing mothers and their babies. This is Healthwise, brought to you by Lagos State Ministry of Health. You all are welcome. Welcome back. Without wasting much of our time, please welcome Dr. Abeyuwa Emopai. He's a consultant pediatrician and a medical director at Mercy Children's Hospital. Please a round of applause for Dr. Emopai. Thank you for coming, doctor. You're so much welcome. And of course, I have Mrs. Oluwatoyin Adams. She's Chief Nutrition Officer from the Lagos State Ministry of Health. A round of applause for Mrs. Toyin. You both are welcome on today's episode. Thank you so much for coming. Doctor, you're so much welcome. Now, I have a question for you, doctor. Breastfeeding is said to be a balanced diet for infants. How true is this?
Thank you very much. You must remember breast milk is the natural food for humans. Okay. And so it tends to contain all the necessary requirements that a child requires. Okay. So if you look at the breast milk of a 28 weeks pregnant or premature baby is different from the milk of a 10 baby, also different from the milk of a 1-month-old baby, because each of those times in life, the body requires some basic requirements which only the breast milk will supply. And that is why we say once you are breastfeeding, you don't need to take any other form of nutrient again. Okay. For instance, I'll give an example. For the newborn, a premature baby, for instance, requires a lot of energy. So if you take the milk of a woman who delivered a premature baby, you find the energy is higher than that of a 10 baby, because it doesn't require that amount of. The same thing in child about 1 month old. And so as you grow older, based on your basic requirements, the milk tends to evolve. So unlike your typical, the alternative form of it is just made. So it doesn't really evolve to, they try to make it to suit the other different ages, but it's not the same thing.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Now, Ma, since breastfeeding mothers, they give a lot of nutrients to their babies, what diet would you recommend for nursing mothers?
For nursing mothers, we always ask them to have what we refer to as adequate diet. Okay. A diet that comprises all the classes of food, carbohydrates, protein, fats and oil, minerals and vitamins, that these are fruits and vegetables, and a lot of water, and they need to eat more, because a breastfeeding mother requires about 500 calories more to meet the nutritional requirements and also that of the baby. So we ask them to eat a little bit more than what they usually eat. Okay. Ensure that all the classes of food is present in their food, and a lot of fluid. And this time around, we're not talking of beverages, we're referring to water, a lot of water.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I must say this to my viewers at home. I'm sure you'll be hearing noises from the background because we have special guests in the house. A round of applause for my babies in the house. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Now, doctor, what are the advantages of exclusive breastfeeding?
The advantages are numerous. If I look at it, if you don't breastfeed, I remember reading one book. It says the feeding bottle in a tropical mother is a lethal weapon. So once you realize that, you find out that the advantages of breastfeeding is you cannot really change it. The first most important one is the bond. We've always said that any mother breastfeeding, there is that bond. Definitely she's looking after that child. That is because she's the only one looking after the baby. Other things are it prevents them from having infections. It has a lot of anti-infective properties. Then there's even the milk that comes out within the first 48 hours. It's not the typical milk. We call that the first immunization. Because that is that aspect is what the baby needs. It gives the baby a lot of antibodies, special antibodies that will prevent the child from having diarrhea or colds. And so other things is very cheap. You don't spend money. I'm sure the chief nutritionist will tell us if we can sit down and design a meal that you won't have to spend money for the first 1 year of life. Contrary to when you have to use the formula milk. It is the right temperature. You don't need to get up. You don't need to go and wait. If you look at the process of breastfeeding or preparing the formula milk, You have to boil. If you're going to boil water, if you don't have milking, almost 30 minutes, you're going to be boiling. A baby won't wait for you at that time.
Sure.
Breast milk is readily available. And so when you look at all the advantages of it, you find out that it is not worth it going to go and do formula feeds. If you look around here now, all the mothers who are breastfeeding, they are very comfortable. They are not under pressure. If the baby wants to eat and they just trip up and give the baby to eat, they won't need to start looking for, hey, please boil water for me, watch the cup and things like that. So I think I would say continue to recommend exclusive breastfeeding to all mothers.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you so much. As a nutritionist, I would like you to shed more light on what Doctor just said.
Okay, on the difference, the advantages of breastfeeding.
Yes.
He has mentioned the nutritional benefits.
Okay.
It contains the correct nutrients in the right quantity. It is species specific.
Okay.
It meets the nutritional needs of the child. The age, it changes with the age.
Okay.
And they are of different categories. The first one, which we call the colostrum, has more carbohydrates because the child needs more carbohydrates for more energy. Then the protein in breast milk, which is casein and whey.
Okay.
They are easily digestible and the body absorbs it completely
Wow,
for optimal growth and development. And the same with the minerals. The iron is completely absorbed, unlike the formula feeds where you have absorbed minerals, which lines the guts of the baby and give chance to other bacteria to thrive, thus exposing the child to infection. And that is why formula-fed babies, their stools are always hard and odorous.
Wow.
Because of indigestion, you have constipation. You don't have that with a child that is breastfeeding.
Wow.
And coupled with that, a child that is breastfeeding, because we have a larger quantity of lactose, and this is responsible for brain development. Research has shown that a child that is exclusively breastfed has about 8 to 10 points intelligent quotient, higher than a baby that is formula fed. So a baby that is breastfed, they're always very intelligent. I'm a live example. I have them in my family. Those who were breastfed are very, very intelligent.
Wow, that's
yes.
good. That's good. So we must say that we should encourage our
mothers to please
breastfeed
their children.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at this drama sketch just to enlighten us more on breastfeeding. Thank you.